So I'm Crystal Dawn Morris. I am one of the lead faculty members of the International School of Temple Arts, or ISTA. I've been involved with ISTA for about 11 and a half years. My experience with ISTA, I went to my first conference in 2007. It was called the Dhaka Dakini Conference, and that's when I first got to know Baba Des Nichols, who founded ISTA, and that it happened because I was in a Tantra teacher's training with Margot Anand, and she told me I should go teach at a sex conference. And I said, I've heard that this man had a conference around sexuality. And so I've had the opportunity to watch the growth. At that time, what he was doing in his house had been going for about 6 years, kind of meeting in his living room with mostly friends. And this was the first conference that had been outside of his house. But between 2001 and I believe 2007, it had always been in Des's house, which was called the Sedona Temple, and so in 2007 it had grown to the size that we had 90 people, and it was in a yoga center, and so that was the first time I went, and I really had the opportunity to see what he was creating, and then I felt inspired to get involved in 2008, especially when he came back from like a world tour around where he was connecting with other people, and people didn't know what Dhaka Dakini meant, so he said it would be the spiritual, sexual, shamanic, and then it was called practitioner training. So that's when I got involved in end of 2008, and so I've been around since more or less the beginning, before it became a global movement, which it really has now. And one of the things that's exciting is that in the last 4 years I've been a lead facilitator, and I've really wanted to see North America because it had kind of died out there since Des had been traveling everywhere else. And so it's really exciting to see it being seeded in North America more. And we just had our first North America Tribal Gathering that was over 100 people. It was a huge success. And now here I am in Israel for the biggest ISTA festival ever. So it is a movement that is really about people reclaiming their sovereignty, people reclaiming their ability to manifest consciously the life they want to create, the world they want to create, taking back our power. And the way I see it is like becoming this hollow bone for spirit to move through us, and so we can create heaven on earth or paradise or whatever word you want to put on that, but really in a sense of not so much like deciding how it should look, but simply being in the moment and feeling the love and feeling the connection and feeling the sense of who our allies are and how we can move together in a way where we can celebrate our authenticity, where we can speak our truth, where we can honor that we are sexual beings, that we're spiritual beings. And the shamanic piece is really how do we connect outside. We doesn't have to always be face to face. In dream time, how can we connect and feel more connected to our environment and really use all of our resources, not just our words and our thoughts and our bodies, but we're so much bigger. Like, how can we recognize we are these divine beings with so many resources, and how we can, that everything's alive, and that this is why making love with life is my spiritual practice, because it's all alive and it's all the one, and then people can stop arguing over petty little things that don't matter, such as borders or who's right and who's wrong or how something should be done, and we can start to respect and listen. It's more just talk, and feel the love in our hearts, and recognize that it's okay to agree to disagree, and also when we're not coming out of fear, we can find solutions so much easier. And that's really, I think, the essence of what ISTA is about, is how do we recognize we are powerful beings, that we are the creators of our reality, and when we know that, then we can tap into the abundance of the universe and really transform the world. And it all happens with ourselves first. How do we, find the love here and the acceptance of ourselves, and then how do we begin to see that in others and become that mirror so that we can all see the divine in one another. And that's, I feel, So often people are focused on what it looks like, and then they focus on the problems and they focus on the differences. And I think one of the biggest things is, how do we stop focusing on what's not working and really start focusing on how can we allow things to effortlessly unfold in a way where we can synergize with one another and feel the sacredness in everything, and really come from this place of sovereignty that's not about power over, which is a lot of times when people think of sovereignty, they think of like a king or queen and they're ruling, but it's not really that. It's like when we recognize we're all sovereign beings, then what we want is we want to empower one another to celebrate your uniqueness, and also to celebrate ways we can connect. And it's like getting out of the old paradigm. It's really a paradigm shift. How can we shift the paradigm from a world where it's all about people protecting their stuff and having power over, to saying, hey, you know, stuff isn't that important. How can we share love and abundance and stop creating separation and really celebrate connection and recognize we are all one, and we are all depending on each other, and the more people there are on this planet, the more important it is we recognize that if we want to survive our own creations. So, and that I'm inspired by that as well, because I have sons and grandchildren, and I want them to grow up in a world where they can have a world that's filled with the beauty and the love and the connection and the freedom, and not a world based on destruction and power over, and really shifting out of this old paradigm into a new way of being. And I think this is what we're creating in ISTA every day, you know, all over the world. Like, thousands of people have come, tens of thousands probably, have come and done this training, and it's amazing when you meet people. I was just at a training, and this woman had taken the training, and she came 6 weeks later, and it was like such a remarkable change. I was like, this doesn't even seem like the same person. She was like just in 6 weeks. So that was a really strong example of just recognizing, because I don't often get the chance to see somebody just in that short of a time later, and see the transformation, radical transformation. So if you're out there and you're wondering if it's just for you, if you're ready to radically transform your reality into something based on love, freedom, abundance, feeling your own, being able to resource life from within, then I would suggest you come to ISTA.